brief recap, because we literally just went over all of this yesterday. After having a bounty put on your head and not being entirely subtle about laying low, you guys decided that once you, through the help of the friend that you rescued and then almost murdered and threw out the airlock, realized exactly who it was that was after you, and found some information to help you wreck his day, while a mysterious third party has been trying to help smooth over the bounty war. You were successful in freeing/destroying all of the bad guys' blackmail material, while Spectra and the rest of them hijacked one of his shipments and he accidentally spaced his own loyal guards, because good job on him. Things have calmed down for the most part. Just about everyone is either convinced that Trigger was just making stuff up or had no intention of doing anything to support him in the first place, don't particularly care about y'all, or they're part of the ship's crew and would very much like to not see y'all kidnapped.
Well, that's reassuring.
I think all of them would take that very personally. So you all have arrived at the Oasis. You have been guided down the very lavishly decorated hallway into an office that very much screams, I know exactly how powerful I am. And I believe we left off with someone typing at a computer sitting in a chair, and everyone is very fancily dressed. And I do have one comment about what Spectra's wearing. It looks kind of like a uniform, except for whenever she's in shadow, it looks like she has full sleeves, but whenever there's light shining on her, it's like her sleeves almost disappear and you can see her tattoos.
Very nice. So, you hear the clickety-clackety, and one of the tuxedo escorts makes a motion to say, stay right there, and then quietly comes up to the side of this giant chair and says something in a very low voice to the side. After a couple of seconds, the typing stops. You see a puff of smoke come up from the outside and over the top of the chair as it slowly swivels around. And you see what can only be described as the archetypical mob boss, with a fedora and a leisure suit with fur, and he's puffing on a giant cigar.
Maria is unimpressed. Spectra is very amused.
Well, isn't this the wonderful crew of the Opal Star? And of course, I can't help but notice that you brought Faridah as well. This quite pleases me.
Are we going to get to a point in the conversation where you explain why you're so interested?
Oh, of course. But no need to rush here. Oh, by the way, would any of you like a mint? They're right here on the table. They're butter-flavored. I tell you what, they are absolutely so smooth. Anyone a buttermint?
Also, probably doesn't exist in the Alliance. These are probably brought in from the Federation, so I'm pretty sure y'all are familiar with these.
I'd like to roll insight, because Vi thinks right now that this is a bit of a trap, so she'd like to try to get a read on Sandro.
Okay.
My eyes will flash the blue, and one of them will pop into my hand, even though I don't move.
That's a 21.
As you are squinting your eyes suspiciously at what Sandro is offering, Sandro gives a brief recognition of your caution, and he reaches into the bowl himself and grabs a couple and puts them in his mouth.
I tell you, you can't find these just anywhere.
I know.
So you get the impression that at least the mints are not a trap.
Okay.
The mints are not a lie.
I think at that point, Vi will mental missive Faridah, saying, I have no intention of separating myself from y'all, but would you mind zapping me a mint as well, please?
Sure.
Basically, I'm not stepping away from you, but can I have one?
Yeah.
I'll hand you the first one I grabbed, and I'll go and I'll grab the next one. It's only cool the first time, you know?
What's Anima doing?
Anima is... Actually, she's watching Spectre and Maria to see what they do.
I feel like Maria is giving off the vibes of she's at ease and she's used to this. Spectre seems bemused with all of this. Has not dealt with him as much. Also is like, it doesn't feel threatening.
He takes another puff of his cigar, and there's a big old cloud of smoke that goes up and into the ceiling of the room. You realize now that this entire room's pretty hazy.
But it doesn't smell like cigar smoke, I imagine. It smells kind of nice.
Like eucalyptus, vaguely.
The haze does play well with my dress.
Oh, quite.
Spectre's sleeves are phasing in and out of existence, almost.
I am pleased to see that all of you are alive and well, especially since you were already declared dead. You managed to do something that I have had a trouble with for the past several months. You managed to get rid of a competitor for me. Trigger was a bright star. Perhaps too bright. Too hotshot. He was a little trigger happy, if you know what I mean.
Did you give him his name?
He also had terrible taste in fashion.
So is he eliminated then? Or still just missing?
I wish I could say he's eliminated, but at this time he's simply underground. However, his company still remains, and that's left quite the power vacuum. Someone's going to have to step in to fill it. Maybe I will have to step in. But that's not the point of this meeting. I brought you here because you managed to protect one of my more
Takes another puff.
valuable investments.
Investments.
Indeed.
Maria and Spectra both look very confused by this, but Maria gives the vibe of she might be able to connect more dots than Spectra. Spectra's just like, part of me, what?
I think for this point on, I'll bring in my assistant, Miss Yellow. Hits a little button on his desk. Miss Yellow, can you come and join us in the meeting room?
Certainly, sir. Give me one moment.
But yes, I have been interested in quite a wide variety of things in my time. Shipping, logistics, drugs. But recently I've gotten into the music business. And Faridah is possibly one of the best finds I've ever had. Do you realize how famous you are, Faridah, out in the wide world?
Enough to be dangerous. I'll wipe my face off with the illusion spell that I've been using this whole time, and then I'll bring it back to normal.
Ah, that's always a good move. I knew you had a good head on your shoulders. I am quite pleased that y'all have managed to keep Faridah alive. I was trying to get her out of the Federation. It had been difficult to get the paperwork going, and then chaos happened. But you managed to get her out on her own. And I must say, I very much am pleased with that.
The way you're speaking, you make it seem as if she was a commodity that you were trying to import than a person.
Oh, forgive me, I never was that good with the bedside manner. You see, when you're treated your whole life like a commodity, and then tossed out at the end like some piece of trash, that tends to affect how you see the world.
You were tossed out like 40 years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this was a while ago, my dude.
Well, the point remains the same. I turned myself into something that can't be ignored or thrown away. So I see everyone as investments. It's just the way I see the world. It's not anything good or evil. I'm a businessman. I built an empire on this. It's my goal to see that the balance of this small rock be maintained. Because, as you might know, being at the edge of Federation space, we are in quite a peculiar position. There's quite a few Federation uppies who like to visit here. And so, I'm not like Trigger, who wants to go and make war, because I find that war often leads to destruction as much as it does lead to prosperity. So I prefer to keep the balance. And I feel that it's these investments that make the whole galaxy a better place. After all, I'd say that Faridah was well worth it.
Would you all like to roll insight checks?
And what about my music is interesting to you? Certainly not genre. Certainly not how many were being sold.
I like to think like Sandra first heard one of her songs when like someone was bringing something in, just had it on or something.
Well, the subject matter for all of my music as a whole is to never focus on a specific cultural more than any other. So the number of songs that I have, probably in the 20s, are mostly done in completely different languages and have a variety of revolutionary ideas being represented, or are in styles that are directly contradictory to whichever regime is controlling that language.
Probably helped you get away without the fact that your dad's a rather powerful individual. Also, most of the Federation's officials have no idea what your songs are talking about.
Precisely. Nobody's listening to my music anyways. It doesn't matter what it says. Or at least it didn't. So, Sandro, what is it about my music that's interesting to you?
Can we pause and see what the insight checks were? What'd you get, Vi?
23.
Nat 20.
What are y'all trying to figure out with this?
I mean, you were the one who suggested an insight check.
What do you think your characters would be looking for? Because I feel like the way Vi is looking at it versus Anima is very different. Or, well, with that, we could just go with what they get, what vibe they're getting in general, because I imagine they would get a lot off of that. So, PC, what do they got?
If it's not anything specific you're looking for, those are pretty high rolls. I think what you're getting is that he is telling you exactly what his worldview is. He's shooting straight with you on that. He may not tell you everything, but the way he sees the world and everyone, that's truly how he sees it. And for whatever reason, he is pleased with y'all, particularly.
I also think with the comments about treated as a commodity and then tossed out, you get
the idea there's some history there. Nobody sounds like that and have a normal life.
You may not know how he came to no longer be in the Federation, but probably easily connect the dots that it wasn't a pleasant experience whatever happened. But he survived and is not actively trying to burn the government down, so that's something. Totally being subversive until we can find a better way to dismantle, maybe.
Now back to Faridah's question. What do I like about your music?
I like how I never know exactly what's gonna come next. Each track is some new experience. I'll admit some of them is not what I'm used to, but that's okay. I've grown used to too many things. I also love the fact that it seems to piss off some people in the Federation.
Yeah, well, that'll happen with some small-time music producers. You try, be subversive.
So, for how you keep saying how interesting you find Faridah, how happy you are that she's safe, yet you mention paperwork, which I think we all know wouldn't be for official channels to the Federation. So, why did you wait and not try to get her out or contact her?
It's dangerous for someone of my stature to single out a single person in the Federation. I have many enemies, and while someone is in a vulnerable state, it's often best for there to be many layers between me and my investments.
Sounds reasonable to me.
Nobody would want to buy music from a mob boss, but they might buy it from an up-and-coming promotional company, one that seeks to promote independent artists. You know, stuff like that all the young people like.
So you own the music company that produces Faridah's songs here in the Alliance?
I wouldn't quite say own.
You have influence. Because also you helped her very influential agent out of a pickle.
Yes, thank you for that reminder, Miss Yellow. There's so many things going, so many deals. The long story short, I wanted to invest in something that I thought would be an overall net positive to the world.
And to your bank account?
Oh, a little bit. But I'd say the lion's share is going to Faridah. As a matter of fact, there's at least 2 or 3 different accounts in your name that I'm ready to hand over to you.
That's 2 or 3 more than I knew about.
Yes.
Miss Yellow, can you give Faridah that information for her? I think we no longer have to hold it in trust.
Certainly, sir. One moment. And she has a device and she starts typing and... Do you have a preferred address for me to send the information to?
Here's just my whole ass phone. I have no idea what channels we're going to use that we go through, but here, have fun.
She sets it on top and keeps typing. You see things start popping up on her phone. Alright, I am also going to send you the information for how to contact your agent and all the other people working with your brand.
Could you also send me the info on whatever intern is running the social media for me? I think I need to apologize.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
I was
that.
being rather antagonistic or something.
Vi gives a quiet sigh.
Mrs. Yellow pauses, just kind of looks up. Also, I'm kind of picturing her as like perfectly ordinary looking human in a business suit, hair pulled back.
You don't want to know. Just give her the information.
It wasn't bad.
One moment, and there. Please try not to scare off the interns, they're hard to find. And she hands you the phone back.
I mean, this was like more than a month ago. If they're still working for you, then it should be fine.
I think it was maybe a week and a half ago. It was like a couple of days before y'all did the heist.
And we've had a significant amount of downtime since then, no?
Like a week and a half.
Time gets weird in space.
Very true. Here it's almost perpetually dusk. I think it's all the dust that's in the Kuiper Belt. It makes it ideal, though, for having a perpetual nightlife.
That's true.
But in addition to that, because you managed to both bring Faridah out of the Federation for me, and managed... Sorry, I need to take a puff. Managed to knock down one of my more annoying competitors, I would like to pay you in kind. I have a special vault. Time out.
Can I do a medicine check on him? On the cigar that he's smoking? I have proficiency in medicine and I hardly ever use it, but I feel like I would be able to figure out what he is.
Go for it. Questions I wasn't expecting to hear today, but then again, I have very few plans beyond shiny things.
18?
He has a smoker's lung.
It's more the source of the medicine. This cigar is clearly not being used as a negative drug, it's being used to fix his lung.
Yeah.
Probably a medicine from where the air started to run out right before he got grabbed, I would assume. Although I don't know if you would know the effects on your lungs of when the life support fails and you're basically in the vacuum for a few minutes. Or maybe about a minute. Not long enough to do any permanent damage, but not great.
It is a medicine that encourages regrowth and repair, as opposed to a medicine that is trying to clean out and detox. Interesting.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of weird you have no there's no telling what kind of stuff people come up with.
Future.
Let me tell you. Have you ever tried to breathe in the vacuum of space?
Thank God, no.
You can't.
Takes another puff.
Were you unaware of this fact before you had to and decided to try it, or was it just situational?
Well, when I was a young lad, and a drone for the Federation, I was a delivery driver, actually. I didn't really think much about it. I smoked as much as I wanted. I just did my route and then I went home. But apparently, I peeked a little too much one time and saw something I shouldn't have. And so, my truck was sabotaged. They pulled out the life support system. Within about 30 minutes, I realized that I was living in a dead coffin. And for a little while there, I thought that I was a goner. But I happened to be picked up by a certain individual just as the vacuum was beginning to pull out my lungs. And from there, I decided that I was going to do what I could to make sure that never happened to me again. I didn't trust anyone, and I built this empire.
There's some money exchanged between Spectra and Maria at the end of the story. Like someone just lost a bet.
Speaking of money, I look at my phone as I receive it back. I grab it and, trying to play it cool, glance at the total numbers on the three accounts before I put away my phone.
You didn't know numbers could go that high.
Well, funny then.
But enough about me. I want to reward you. I want to more invest in all of you, since you seem to be more capable than most adventuring parties. I would like to offer you each 2 things from my private vault. And these are special treasures, no doubt. I've collected over my years of building this empire. Consider it a reward for what you have done up to this point. I would like to consider you an investment. And if you ever need anything from me, I'll be happy to provide.
And I'm assuming if you need anything from us, that we should be happy to provide in turn. Is that...
As I'm probably next to Vi, I just kind of lightly elbow her and just open my phone and show her the numbers. And then click it closed again. I don't know if... Well, he seems relatively sane. And this is a missive. He seems relatively sane. And he's giving stuff away. Like, this is nuts.
Okay, I'll mental missive Faridah and going, people in the underworld who seem sane are just as dangerous, if not more so, than those who are obviously crazy.
This gift that I'm giving does not have strings attached. I would simply consider this an exchange of hello. I may ask in the future if I may need your assistance, but I will offer just compensation for any future ask. In a sense, I am paying back for what you have done for me.
One moment. It sounds like we are giving you something. Do you mean Faridah? Is that...
What you've already done for him, which was keeping Faridah alive and basically helping get rid of Trigger.
Okay, alright. It just sounded like we give him something, we get something. That's why I was like, wait a minute.
I think the gist of that was, I might ask you to help with something in the future, but you will be compensated.
Yes, thank you, Miss Yellow. Once again, I'm just not good with the bedside manna.
That's what you've hired me for, sir.
Indeed. Now, Miss Yellow, can you please escort them to the vault? I'll try and make it down there myself if I don't receive any more annoying phone calls today.
Certainly, sir. Just so you don't forget, you do have an appointment with Mr. White this afternoon.
Ah, yes. But can't I have just a little fun?
Certainly, sir. Just had to remind you so you couldn't say I let you forget. Right this way.
As everyone is making their way out, Faridah is going to hang back a moment, and she's going to say, I think I have some idea for the 2 things I need, and I don't think I need to see your vault.
Need to listen to what you have to ask.
Whoever's been managing these accounts has been doing a very good job.
I'll make sure that they know that.
I would like to tap into that skill pool. Expand the network a little bit. Maybe maintain these genuinely outrageous sums of money out of my inexpert hands. Of course, I'll dip into it as desired, but this is ridiculous.
You need a financial advisor?
I need a corporation to run this stuff. There are too many zeros here. It bleeds off my screen. This is too many. This is too much. What is this? This is ridiculous.
Of course.
I would say you might not be quite at billion, but you're up.
It's a lot.
Also, because you haven't been spending much of that at all, because you haven't been able to.
Mm-hmm.
You've been famous for a number of years, and this is what would happen if someone who's super famous saved their money. Like, all of it, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. And maintained it in an appropriate fashion, so it probably was growing on its own without even me selling any music, because it's a lot of money.
Of course. I have some contacts who are very trustworthy. They should be able to keep managing your account, but giving you full access.
I would appreciate that. And as far as the second part, which the first part almost addresses, you've been doing a good job doing the whole producer thing. You don't want to keep on doing that?
You see Sandro crack the widest smile, and he chuckles a little bit. Now that's something that warms my cold heart. I will continue to look upon your career with great interest. Rest assured, I will make sure that your fame will only grow.
Faridah walks up to his desk and places the series of metallic discs that she's been carrying around. Probably looked a little bit like a clutch to anybody that glanced over it. She's going to place it on the desk and is going to bop the top. And out from it is going to unfold the, to an expert engineer eye, rough construction of the helmet, which shows up in the promo for the Coming Soon bit that she released at some point, which was just the helmet with the glowing lights in the front.
I think you sent someone that. I don't think it's been posted anywhere.
Right. I think that was what was passed on to that intern. It was meant to give them a heart attack. I place that, bop it up, and in the dim light, the kind of I think it was like a pink lotus thing just kind of bloomed on the front face of it. And Faridah says, "Well, I have a new project. Something in exchange. So you have fun with that. I'm going to go that way because I have a feeling Vi is going to rip my arm out if I delay any longer."
Yeah, Vi's probably not far from the door.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Mrs. Yellow was standing by you. She would remind you, you have something that could possibly be retrofitted or adjusted for that in your vault.
This is more the symbolism of the music project. This is not the suit. This is purely on the artistic side. This is make a change in the brand, have a strong aesthetic for an art album.
I hate this ice cream truck.
Is it that time of day?
I could hear it for just a second.
So, for Sandro, you're seeing that Faridah is offering you, well, here's my new project. Not very finished, but it exists. There are like lyrics for several songs. Lots of interesting dark robot vibes. It's a thing.
I'll give it a listen.
There's a specific group of people that it is targeted to support.
I'm intrigued.
We may need to speak more about this later then. She genuinely will cut off my arm if I do not go now.
Of course. Go on. Go play.
Thank you. She'll like skitter off.
I'm pretty sure everyone just kind of like stopped and stood in the doorway staring at Faridah when I realized she wasn't following.
She would have waited until the door closed.
Yeah.
I think as soon as she hears the door closed and doesn't hear like Faridah going behind her, she'll stop and be like, "What?"
So as Faridah opens the door, Vi is just right there. She's like, "Hello?
Hello.
Yes? I got my business first from you. Let's go."
All right.
I shared a link in the chat to some of the stuff that is available in the vault.
Yeah. There's no, like, money. It's all objects. Just extremely unique or extremely valuable.
How unique are these? I asked Miss Yellow.
They vary somewhat. Many of these objects were either given as gifts to Mr. Esman or There are a few that he won from different agreements that he had with people. Some of them can be rather hard to find, some of them are prototypes. And so my plan is everyone has a shopping list, but there might be a couple other shinies that they get.
Y'all are wrapping up the conversation in the vaults, whatever's happening. And then you hear this little click from a loudspeaker. And you hear over the loudspeaker,
Miss Yellow, I forgot to mention. Please make sure our guests have a penthouse suite for the week.
Already done, sir.
Indeed, I want to make sure that they have the highest hospitality while they're here.
It will be taken care of.
Ooh, that's a vigorous pun. Ouch. I took psychic damage from that. Highest? Woo. Woo. Spicy.
As I said, if you're wondering just how important you are, that's the answer. If anyone wants to have a scene with Sandro while y'all are staying at his penthouse in one of the penthouse suites, phrasing.
Yes, it's in one of the coconuts.
The fun fact is, it's the entire coconut.
Indeed, there are 3 coconuts at the top.
It'll start as a conversation with Vi and Anima. And then Faridah will ring out Sandro. We can shoot through the conversation with Miss Yellow real fast. Knock that off the list. So we're looking around, and Faridah notices the silvery cloth in its appropriate carrying case of whatever it is. And she'll ask, so, Miss Yellow, what is this? This is a very fine material.
It's dynamic clothing. It's made of unique nanofibers that can be programmed to look like just about anything.
So clothing that can rearrange itself.
Yes.
Do you think you could get a couple more of these?
Most likely, yes. We do have some deals with the people who manufacture them.
That's fantastic. Well, I guess... Oh, wait, you're also holding my accounts. I guess I'm looking to get 3 of these, please. Thank you.
Any specifications to, like, size and, like, measurements?
They do kind of seem to move around. Yes, someone slightly bulkier than me, someone slightly more dexterous than me, and the captain whose size I am still completely unsure about. Oh, wait, I need one for Tally, too. Man, that's gonna be expensive. One for Tally, too. She'd like it.
Spectre and Maria are standing in the doorway to the vault. I don't know if they're gonna quite go in, but they're perusing curiosities. But Missy is like, oh, that can be done, and we might be able to get a bit of a discount buying in bulk and with a unique relationship with the company. Is there anything else I can help you with?
That'll be all for me.
Very well then, I will let the rest of you peruse, and if anyone has questions, come let me know. And can I get 3 of you to roll me investigation checks? Because I have things you are going to notice. This is how long it takes you to find them.
I got a nat 1. So...
18.
What's your passive perception, Vi?
Vi is 18.
Gotcha. Okay, so Faridah, you got an 18 on your investigation. Anima, what'd you get? Investigation?
I got a 19.
So, Faridah, you're not looking around for very long at all before you notice, because in your research for, like, different materials you wanted to use for the suit, you learned of there's this rare patented material that works well with Esper energy, but it's hard to find in large quantities, but it's really easy to work with. You find an incomplete, broken down suit that has most of the components you wanted for yours to have with that material.
Huh. I'm gonna look at that. Something to think about for later.
Gotcha. So, Anima, as you're looking around at all the things, you know something out of the corner of your eye that seems different? It looks like just like the hilt of a sword. And take it up out of curiosity. Can I get a wisdom check from you?
I'm gonna try you. If you burn me again, you're going in jail. That's a 1. It burned me again, it's going in jail.
I can make the argument you get advantage because you're holding it.
So the second one was an 18.
As you're holding it, you realize what drew you to it, what made it so familiar. You used to carry something like this. Before whatever happened. It's not the exact one, but it's very similar to it. And you know just how to activate it, and as you activate it, a blade folds out of the hilt, and there's something familiar about the design traced along the side. As you're looking around, you almost pass it up, and you catch something out of the corner of your eye that it looks very familiar. It's not exactly like how you remember it, but it looks like a book you saw your parents had. It's not the exact same cover, but it is very similar. There was a story in it that they never told you because they were going to wait until you were older. And then stuff happened, so you never got to hear what the story was. But there's a book just like that one sitting on the table. You can pick it up and flip through it. It's in good condition. It does seem to be written in the equivalent of like Shakespeare English. It's a little dense, might take some time to figure out exactly what certain things mean. If you ask Miss Yellow, she will explain that it was a gift from one of the Eldori that was relocated, because she and her boss had noticed that it seemed to be a common thing that Eldori that they were relocating had. So they asked about it, and eventually they were gifted a copy or two. What she knows about it is that it tells a story that not a lot of Eldori know, because it could be the story of how they ended up in the Federation.
So, does your boss deal a lot with relocated Eldori?
Well, we help with a variety, but we're not the only ones.
You may need to speak with your boss in the future.
Well, he can be a bit hard to get a hold of, but... And she hands you a business card that just says Mrs. Yellow and has her contact information on it. If there's anything we can help with.
Do you know anything about any Eldori that were moved off of a planet and then got out of Federation space?
Well, there have been people fleeing for a variety of reasons. If there's a particular incident, I could look into it, but it might be some time before I can get into the database to find that information for you.
It may have been some time ago. I'm not sure how long you've worked with your employer.
I've worked with him for some time now, but I do know where to find the older archives of information. Well, what we have. Naturally, some information is kept protected, because not all who try to follow do so with best intentions.
Believe me, I do not wish harm to come to any of them. I understand why they need to be protected.
Well, as I said, you have my information, and you are welcome to take the book if you wish. And she also allows Anima to take the sword. Mrs. Yellow sees you, and then she's like, "Oh, we've been trying to figure out how to get that one to work. We don't have much use to it, but since it seems useful to you, I'm sure Mr. Esman wouldn't mind if you took it. But we're about to come into a rather large amount of arms to deal with, so... Also, I'm certain Mr. Esman would appreciate you all being better armed.
Alright.
If you would like it, of course." And she will leave you to ponder that, walking around checking on everybody. Spectra is gonna ask Sandro if he would be willing to fund a certain scientist friend of hers research.
What is it you need from me? I'm happy to lend an ear.
I was wondering, since you have a large amount of money going into a wide variety of investments, I happen to know of a scientist who's attempting to do some research into helping those who the Chrysalis Project is not as kind to. The Chrysalis process. As much as we Prometheans like to chase perfection, sometimes there's a price that is paid.
I see. Well, that does bring about some interesting questions. If you have some information for me, I might be able to invest.
I'm sure I can get you some information. It's been a minute since I contacted her, but I know she's been doing some research to help some of her friends and is looking to spread that further for the aberrants. Aberrants are when it really goes sideways, and they are very problematic.
Yeah, does sound like it would be. It seems like a worthy cause to invest in. If you can share with me whatever contact info, I'll have my people call your people.
I'd like to set up the initial contact to myself, since she knows me, but she is a good friend.
Well, of course. Well, when you're ready to have this meeting initial, we can talk business then. Until then,
He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a little picture. And pulls out a business card.
says, please contact me when you're ready.
I certainly will. And I imagine after all of the vault shopping time, there's just a nice time where it's like an actual vacation for y'all.
Feel free to enjoy the amenities of the Oasis. I have a 30-story casino. There's pools on every 5th floor. And there's wonderful live shows. Just really top-notch entertainment. Just make sure you avoid the penny slots. Those are, in my estimation, a complete scam.
At this point, I imagine Tali's in the room. She starts to book it to the door when he says casino, and the dispatcher just grabs the collar of her shirt, like, nope. I wanna later.
During the time that we spend here, I'm assuming lots of revelry is had. And one of the evenings, everybody is probably chilling out in a bar. One of the many, I would assume, that is in this building. And it'll be in a moment when it's just Anima, Vi, and Faridah. And Faridah is going to say, so what's going on next?
I'm really not sure.
'Cause I had an idea.
Hmm?
But it's also the type of idea that y'all don't really enjoy.
What idea?
There's like a whole infrastructure of stuff here. There's a bank account that now I have access to, and I mentioned continuing to work with Sandro to continue to publish my music.
Yeah.
That was why I hung back in the office, actually, earlier.
Okay.
And I'm thinking that the Opal Star is doing really good things. Captain is got great plans, good contacts, good places to direct energy. But those places are in a slightly different direction than where I'm trying to go currently. I was thinking about going to go find my folks. Would y'all be cool with that?
I mean, I thought that was the whole point of getting them here.
I do bring up the things that the Opal Star is doing because they're very big picture things. I mean, taking out Trigger was apparently a massive undertaking, and I would assume that the next things that they do are going to be just as big. I would be more than happy to have y'all join me in going to go find them, my folks. I'm sure that there is a hot meal waiting for all three of us there. But yeah, I might hang there for a little bit.
Oh.
Diverge from the actual Opal Stars path a little bit.
That's understandable. I mean, you almost just died. Like, a week ago.
I mean, it's kind of all in a day's work.
I guess, but that's still scary.
Yeah, a bit. I think I have some more music to make before I go kicking the bucket to a rogue robot. Notably, I am dragging you out to my house with my folks. That you're not getting out of that.
But believe me, it's a time, Anima. It's an experience.
Especially if it's as many people as I think that are probably going to be there. It's gonna be a trip. I have been looking around. There are like charter flights and things, and we might be able to pop out and get y'all back here in time to get back on the Opal Star after its upgrades.
Yeah, because at this point you have gotten in contact with your parents. So, yeah, they're settling in.
It was like a galactic GPS ping, and just Mom saying, dinner's waiting. I'm like, I mean, you don't argue. This is very direct.
So, the idea would be that the three of us go to your parents and everyone else would be there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Spring break.
And then we leave and, well, you stay with them for a while.
Yes. From my understanding, there are several contacts in the music industry that Sandra wants me to meet, which, I mean, pretty much everybody in the music industry is going to be asking around, so might as well have some muscle behind my back. Yeah, talking to people is the big thing. I won't be very far away. Technology has an interesting way of linking us all together. Pushes aside the fourth wall. Yes, it does. Puts the fourth wall back.
Pulls back the curtain. We are all, in fact, on Discord right now.
Yes. Puts it back. So I'm not more than a call away from joining y'all.
I know this is important to you, and I do understand why. Just, one, don't feel you need to do things just because Sandro is heavily...
Oh, nah, he's not a concern of mine. I mean, yeah, not a concern of mine. I'm keeping in mind that the industry has ways of moving and forcing people to do certain things. Thanks to, some of the stories of my childhood. The Wanderer comes to mind as one that I've shared with y'all. I'm not terribly concerned about being led astray. If I have any problems, I also happen to know somebody who is very good at breaking up with people. Or causing people to break up. Either way. You know?
Yeah, I'd say you too. I guess just don't forget about us.
Nah, that's not possible. Almost literally. Almost. And she'll show that hands and tails are in her palm. And as she's rolling them over her fingers, you see that the designs that they've had on them before were very simple geometric, generated, vaguely organic Saurium things. Saurium is very strange, biologic metal. Either way, on the backs of the two of them now, you see that heads, because cooler heads prevail, is the central motif that is on your bracers. It's been relatively crudely copied, but you can see that there's been effort put into this intricate etching, kind of like an interlocking knot, that is very geometric and is very similar to what Vi carries. And on the other one is the top piece of Anima's tribal tattoo. The whole thing would fit, so she just picked like a noticeable motif piece. And says, "Yeah, I won't be forgetting."
I'm gonna cry.
Don't you forget about me. It's playing in the background, you know. There's a live band, actually. They were doing ancient hits.
Oh, yeah. So, there's no goodbye right now. First, we have a little bit of a drip. Then with the pulling out of the camera through the crowd, waiters crossing in front of it, the camera dimming down, you hear the chorus.
And then you hear somewhere from the other side of Vixino, Tally shouting, "I'm on!"
Tally definitely hacked it.
Yeah. I was like, I may want to keep her away from the machines.
Sandra gets an alert on his desktop saying that one of the penny slots, which he has never seen win, actually won. Hey, wait a
Aren't
second.
they cheeky?
I was thinking that Faridah would actually ring him up, but that probably happens off camera, actually. I like that
Yeah.
scene as that.
Yeah.
Also, for the record, before Faridah leaves, Spectre gives her something that if she ever needs help, she can use it to call for help, because she always has a home aboard the Opal Star.
Appreciate it. I don't suppose you're going to have very difficult, extreme difficulty in reaching me. Till next time, Captain.
Anima, before you leave, gives you a big hug
The big hug is returned.
and says, and she kind of leans down as she's hugging you and goes, "We'll really miss you."
Like I said, I'm just a phone call away. And maybe a couple hours by intergalactic galaxy hopper.
That's not the same as walking down the hall and talking to you in your workshop,
That's true.
but it'll have to do.
That's true. Maybe we'll just have to call and talk more often. I expect tea times every day.
Unless they're off doing something potentially dangerous, maybe like questionably stupid.
I mean, within moderation.
Life aboard the Opal Star is not boring at all.
No.
Though I do imagine it's a nice, soothing week, though, of no one actively trying to kill you, hunt you, anything like that.
There's a massage parlor, a movie theater, and there's like a buffet.
Ooh, there's probably an oxygen bar.
Buffet.
Only one?
Well, it's a multi-floor buffet.
Oh, okay then.
It's
All
one
right.
buffet, but multi-floors.
Each floor is a different cuisine.
Indeed.
At some point, I grab Vi and I go, "Let's go see if we can find your spicy noodles that you were telling me about."
Alright, let's go. I don't know if it'll be exactly the same, but we can look.
So there's a whole montage of y'all trying different stuff on the Eldori floor.
Different types of spicy noodles. Is there a spicy noodle competition?
Probably. I don't know, is there?
Probably.
There has to be one.
I was asking the owner of the building.
There's everything at the Oasis.
The competition you're talking about's tomorrow.
Even if you don't make a composition, you will catch that Faridah is trying to eat as much or more of each of the spicy things than you are, and is like having competition. And at a certain point, as you're like very calmly eating horrendously spicy noodles, you just look at her, and her face is red, just sweating, like, you catch her mid-mouthful, she's just like, how do you do this? Thank goodness I have good constitution.
I'm gonna miss this chaos.
Oh yes. A week in Vegas? Yes. Chaos. Total chaos.
Absolutely.
Right before we leave and Faridah's gonna stay, Vi does give her a hug, which is not fully normal because Vi is not always a touchy person. She is, but she's not. It's...
Mm-hmm. This is new.
I know, but it may be a while before we see one another in person again.
Hopefully not too long.
I hope it isn't either.
By the way, let me know if you ever need any plumbing jobs done. I hear you're good at causing leaks. I'm okay with causing leaks that you might need caused too.
I can't think of anyone in particular right now, besides maybe a good part of the Federation government, but that would either be causing a scene
Ooh,
here.
That's a good point. She pulls up her
Yeah.
her hit list, and you see her note on burning the Federation with the little smiley faces on either side, and she's like, underneath it, also burning half the government, at the request of Vi.
Let's just say, a long time ago there was an incident with the Federation government, and I'm not sure who,
Mhm.
so maybe half would be a bit much, but
So it's actually very specific people.
yes, and unfortunately your father couldn't really pinpoint much information about the incident either.
She backspaces very specific people in the government related to. Just puts a ... realizing that it is sensitive.
Let's just say I'm looking for people who are important to me, and it in a different way than Faridah, sort of. I'm not sure where they are, or if they're still around. But anyway, this wasn't meant to be about.
Well, I might become an amateur investigator in my spare time.
This is what would probably be termed as a cold case, a very cold case, Faridah, but comes up.
Nothing we fire-blooded Prometheans love more than the challenge.
It's been like twice as long as you've been alive, Faridah, at least.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's perfectly reasonable. No, she's saying it because she says things like this. She's not saying it because she's like entirely confident. But who knows? The absurd luck of the bumbling idiot will never cease to amaze.
I won't say too much now, just because you have a lot of other things to focus on right now. But if I come up with a lead, I will let you know.
Sounds good.
About that. It was a long time ago, Faridah, so many things could have changed since then. But just don't forget to get in to cause some trouble. Alright? As long as it's not
The trouble will never end.
as long as it's not a level 10 or above. We don't want that again.
No. And for you the same. You have a tendency of getting your hands in the, in the places where your hands become red. So, yeah. Stay sneaky.
I will do my best. It's gonna be strange not having you around, but I'm glad that you've reunited with your parents and you'll be doing more music things that you love. And you're not gonna be bossed around by anyone with that.
That's the plan. Also, a thing. She's gonna stand up from the conversation and walk away. And then your phone is gonna ring.
Okay. I'll look at it. I'll pick it up.
Hi.
Hi.
Did you notice how easy that was? Click. Yes.
Alright, I understand. Oh, and let me know if you need your necklace worked on, alright? Who knows if anyone else you meet will be able to.
That's a very good point. I have my doubts that anybody else is going to be able to mess with this thing. So, yeah, I'll ring you up.
Alright.
Tally Tackle hugs you. You get hugs from everyone else. Ty lifts you off of the ground, but that's mostly just because he's tall.
7 foot tall lizard man.
Yeah. But it's not as back-crushing of a hug as you expected. And then Spectre hands you the medallion and says, "Remember, you always have a home here.
Appreciate it.
Stay safe and try not to get into too much trouble."
I can't make very many promises.
And that is it. That is the end of Season 1 of Board Game Star, and holy cow, what an adventure this has been. Not gonna lie, when I started this campaign 2 years ago, I had no idea where I was going. I had no idea it would become such an important part of my life, telling these stories with my friends, but it has become very important to me. It has become something that I adore, something that I've put a lot of time and effort into, and I plan to continue more. I do have an end in mind for this story, though we are very far from it. This is just the end of one chapter as we change up the cast a little bit. Don't worry, there's still plenty of more adventure to come. Coming soon, we have a retrospective episode as well as an introduction to the players who will be joining us next season. And then we'll be taking a little bit of a break for the holidays before we start Season 2. But keep an eye out for some holiday one-shot specials, because I might do some. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this story. To all of you who have been listening since the beginning, even if you just joined and binged to catch up,
I appreciate you so much. It means a lot to me to know that there are people out there who enjoy this story as much as I do. As usual, feel free to leave a review on iTunes or Podchaser. We also have a Patreon if you want to help support this show or other shows we're doing at Pseudonym Social. And just thank you again for helping me make this dream a reality. We'll see you soon. Aboard the Opal Star is a production of Pseudonym Social, changing reality one story at a time. It is DM'd and produced by me, Brianna Toiber.
I'm Casey, and I'm playing Anima the Ashenforged.
Victor, I'm playing Faridah the Promethean.
My name's Alexis, and I am playing Vilena Sorel, the Eldori.
With music by Patrick Chester of Chester Studios. To get more information on this or any of our other shows, check out our website at pseudonymsocial.wordpress.com.
Are you enjoying the show you're currently listening to?
Is that weird for anybody else?
Only if you make it weird.
Check out Good, Better, Quest, a D&D real play podcast on the Final Plank Network. Our group is working their way through earning their bachelor's in dungeoneering and all of the hazards that accompany it. If you are looking for laughs, tears, and friendship, Good, Better, Quest is here for you.
You would waste your life when there are plenty of other options. Why would you do this?
I hold up my hand to Moth. Helping your friends is never a waste.
Search Good, Better, Quest on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And check out Final Plank's other shows at Final Plank on social media. But remember, it's better than good. It's Good, Better, Quest.